Welcome to this edition lecture on location filmmaking, directing 2. We'll be looking at how to stage a scene, some basics of acting in a scene, and introduction to the moving master. Staging a scene is extremely important, especially if we are going to be doing blocking. So let's look at what blocking is all about. Here's an introductory video from Film Skills.
Hello, I'm Jason Tamarik. One key role of the director is to block or determine how the actors and the camera move relative to each other in the scene. You see, in an ideal situation, the director would encourage the actors to move completely uninhibited around the set, drawing from the story to motivate their movements. Well, in reality, lighting requirements, tight shooting schedules, and the flexibility of the set itself force the director to conform the blocking to the technical demands of the production. So, in this module, we're going to look at how to block actors in a way that serves both the story as well as the technical needs of the production.
Filming is seen through a singular point of view, and that's of the lens. Yes, I know there's multiple cameras, but each one is a singular point of view. So staging has to do with seeing things from one specific spot. Extremely limiting. Not as limiting as painting, not as limiting as graphic novels. Nothing moves in those frames. So we actually have more freedom with a singular point of view than painters and illustrators. Part of directing and blocking is the art of organizing elements within a frame. And if it's done right, it feels absolutely essential to the story you're telling at the time. The dynamics of the movement within the scene, how people move, the speed at which they move, the geometric trajectories that they move. If it's done right, it feels just right.
When you block the scene, everyone involved in shooting the movie knows what this scene is about and where it's going, especially the actors. Because if you start a scene without having blocked the entire scene, then the actors find themselves working their way into the scene and saying, so where are we now? What am I doing next? And you don't get actors involved in the subtle business of a scene if they haven't blocked it. They don't become comfortable enough with the scene to actually do things like sit down and read a newspaper as they deliver their dialogue, or drink a cup of coffee, or get involved in human business. And it's pretty vital to the scene that they feel natural as they're acting. And part of feeling natural is that they get involved in business. They do something with their hands. They get involved in life while they're acting. If you've got two actors standing there with their hands in their pockets because they don't know where they're going next, it can be very, very stilted and hard to watch.
As a director, it's your job to break down the script so you understand how each scene works to support the story. In much the same way an actor breaks down his character, you need to know what each character wants in each scene, what they're really saying, and where they're coming from in the moments before the scene takes place. Well, these three factors play an important role in helping you craft real, organic blocking on set. So, when you sit down with a script to decide the blocking, ask yourself these 4 questions. Why is the character moving? Where is the character moving? When does the character move? And how does the character move? The most important question to ask is why a character should move. Now, it sounds so simple, but the reasons why run deeply into what the character is thinking. So on a very simple level, a character can simply walk to the refrigerator to get milk because the scene involves her making a milkshake. But let's say in a more complex scene in which a wife has just learned that her husband cheated on her, maybe the husband wants to move closer to her as he tries to apologize. So the scene is about apology and an attempt at reconciliation. Well, the wife, already positioned on the opposite side of the room, counters his move, always making sure that something, the couch, the table, is in the way, prohibiting them from getting close to each other. Well, by using the blocking to physically separate the couple, you're tapping into the psychological distancing underscored by the context of the scene.
Nothing is more important than the story. The story is that's the reason that everybody's there. It's not the person, it's not the director, it's not the actor, it's the story. It's that thing that we all serve, and we're all tools to tell that story. So, where are we in this moment within the arc of the story? And there are so many different things to think about. Where's the character? Where's the character's journey at this particular point of the story? Up, down, happy, sad, depressed, motivated, determined, whatever. And that you have to understand as the director or the storyteller so that you can convey it to the actor. Here's where we are in the story. Here's where you are in your journey.
And when we did The Fugitive, I tell you, we were working on the script day and night. I mean, a lot of it was improvised, but I would go to the set in the morning and I knew what the one-liner was that I wanted to get done, you know.
So as a recap, before you even go out and shoot anything, you must prepare your stuff, your paperwork, your shortlist, do your camera planning, and most importantly, as what you've just seen just now, is the blocking of your actors in the scene. Rehearse them as much as possible, because when you're working with the actors and you cast to the role, you need to know the character well, the character that you created, who he or she is and what that person wants. When you do audition, you prepare the scripts that you've written for the character to give to your potential actors, and please choose wisely. I know it's easier to say that than to do it, but a wrong person can really make your production life a living hell if you really do not choose the correct person for your film. The 5 commandments I like to give advice to all of you is block, light, rehearse, tweak, and shoot. So we already know what's blocking to determine where the actors are going to be moving in the scene. We know what lighting is, because if there's no light, you may not be able to see the performances. If you don't rehearse your camera movement and your actors' movement in terms of blocking, you don't know who goes where and when they move. You need to go through all those things, then you can actually tweak and make minor adjustments before you actually really shoot the scene. Because if you spend all that time just to shoot the perfect scene and you don't do your practice, you're going to find yourself wasting more time on set. Okay, as a director, you must know what a scene is. Is it a sad scene? Is it a scene of confrontation? You need to know what the motive of the scene, who the character are, what do they want, know where they are supposed to do the scene, the location of the scene. Is it in a room or back alley? Know what a character wants in a scene. Does the character want money? Does the character want to know the truth? Walk through the camera, tell the camera where to go, how to pan, how to tilt. Block the actors, tell them where to stand. Before you start, always get your actors to do line reading, feed them the emotion and lines, see the mistakes. Sometimes a good actor will give you an interpretation of how they want that scene to be. Allow them some breath and freedom to do so. If not, then guide them. That's what the director is supposed to do on set. Let them ask them how they think and feel about the scene. If you don't block the actors, they do not know when to enter and when to leave the scene. They do not know when to hit their marks. Hitting their marks, that means where do they walk in and stop and deliver the lines. They will be totally lost. If you do have any changes, adjustments to be made at any point, you must discuss with the actors, you must discuss with your DOP, and only then that you do have the confidence to actually go and shoot. It's important that you have a shortlist, because the shortlist will help you with the blocking process. The actors must need to know where you're coming from, where you're going, and if you don't have the you don't have the shortlist, you will just stay on set. You're going to be wasting time to compose a new short list based on the environment. And time is of the essence, because what if you're outdoor and the sun is setting really fast? You got to really, really move fast. Sometimes instead of doing multiple shots, 5, 6, 7, 8 setups in a room, you might want to consider what is known as a moving master. A moving master is to shoot the whole scene uninterrupted, and here are some examples of that.
Mistakes are not an option. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 continuous movie scenes. Just to be clear, we're focusing on the incredible and well-executed scenes from film that are done in one uninterrupted shot, as in not a single cut takes place. Well, as far as we can tell. Number 10, Tricycle, The Shining. Getting things moving are the two uninterrupted steady shots from Stanley Kubrick's horror masterpiece that follow Danny as he explores the vast empty spaces of the Overlook Hotel. Building a sense of suspense, the lack of cuts works to instill a sense of dread that the next corner could hold something terrifying. Not to mention the feeling that he's being followed. The atmosphere is punctuated by the sound of the big wheel trike as it rolls from bare floors to carpet. Number 9, Hallway Scuffle, Old Boy. In this original adaptation of the South Korean mystery thriller, the story follows a man who has been locked up in a hotel room for 15 years without knowing why. When his search for answers leads to a confrontation against a mob in a hallway, the camera takes a profile view of the agonizing one-against-many brawl. Until finally and painstakingly reaching its climax. Number 8, Nightclub and Double Murder, Boogie Nights.
Jackie, how you doing? I'm Miss Lovely Amber Wade. Wow.
This statement-making technique was attempted by director Paul Thomas Anderson's team for the very first shot in the film. Depicting the nightclub of the 1970s, this 3-minute scene worked to introduce us to Burt Reynolds' porn director as he enters the club, before following the owner working the floor and connecting back to Reynolds and his soon-to-be star, Mark Wahlberg. Think that's a crazy cinematic feat of timing and cues? Well, check out the film's second attempt as it follows William H. Macy on New Year's Eve.
Hey, Kurt, have you seen my wife?
No. Hey, they're doing that countdown thing. Come on in, man.
Okay.
As he navigates a house party to find his cheating wife before snapping and going for a double murder and suicide. Number 7, Staircase Fight, The Protector, aka Tom Yong-gong. Action scenes are tricky enough, but imagine having a prolonged action sequence take the fight up a series of staircases without being able to make a single mistake. Here, Tony Jaa takes on countless stunt actors in search of his stolen baby elephants. This scene is so intense that we can't help but feel for the cameraman, who's struggling to keep up and keep on time. We'll take this over shaky cam any day. Number 6, Car Attack, Children of Men. Easily the most memorable scene from this dystopian flick, this all-in-one shot featured an attack on a moving car carrying the film's protagonist. Created with a specially designed car-mounted camera rig capable of 360-degree movements, this ambush, shot in one take, creates a tense scene that makes the viewer feel like passengers in the car themselves.
Julian! It's the cops. It's the cops!
Incredibly, the take took 12 days to stage and execute, and only the last take was used, which was almost interrupted by the director. Thankfully, the crew ignored his call to cut when blood hit the lens. Number 5. Hospital shootout, hard boiled. Thanks to the choreographic efforts of action director John Woo, this is considered one of the best action sequences ever filmed. In it, 2 cops take 2 floors of a hospital packed with bad guys in only one take. That's a whole lot of gunplay, special effects, and timing involved, all to take the audience from the hallway to the elevator and up to a completely different floor. If there's any cheat, it's the use of slow motion to help us catch our breath. Video games can only aspire to be this frantic and well organized. What's most impressive is that this was all accomplished in a single take. Number 4, the Copacabana, Goodfellas.
What are you doing? You're leaving your car?
What? It's the car.
Considered one of the most famous continuous shots ever, this one is from the Martin Scorsese crime classic.
Every time you do. Would you work?
A scene referred to as the Copa sequence, cinematographer Michael Ballhaus painstakingly followed Ray Liotta and Lorraine Bracco into the legendary nightclub, from the back door all the way to their seats.
How you doing? Henry, nice to see you.
This one is reported to have required 8 takes to nail, and effectively depicts the level of power and access the crime world can open up to you.
What do you do?
What?
What do you do?
I'm in construction.
Number 3, The Bomb, Touch of Evil. Talk about an explosive opening to a film that blew audiences away. This shot from Orson Welles' film noir classic is considered one of the greatest examples of an uninterrupted shot in cinematic history. As it follows a car planted with a bomb, it not only introduced the protagonist, but demonstrated that there was more than one way to tell a story and create a sense of fluid storytelling.
Do you realize I haven't kissed you in over an hour?
Number 2, Real Time, Rope.
Open it.
Next up is this Alfred Hitchcock masterpiece, the first of his films in Technicolor, one that was ambitious enough to take place in real time.
I'll open these, all right?
This was accomplished by having it made up completely from 8 to 10 minute takes, with a story centered on 2 killers having strangled a classmate.
I was sure she'd notice. Notice what? The rope, of course. Brandon, we've got to hide it. Why? Why? Yes, why? It's only a piece of rope, Philip, an ordinary household article. Why hide it?
The tense thriller focused on them having hid the body in their apartment and having invited friends and family over just to see how good of a job they had done.
And I can help. You're going to die, Brandon, both of you. You're going to die.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Hi. I don't know, wait. Later than that. Yeah, sure, if they're open. With extra cheese? I don't care. I'm not going to eat it.
That was an extraordinary shot.
What the hell was that? Never heard of it.
It's Julian Temple. It's an English film.
We're in English. We're talking about American movies. Orson Welles was a master.
Pellegrino, please.
No grenades. Huh? Aww. No grenades.
We crashing again?
Talk to your husband. Meal prepped?
Good to go, sir. Just loading her up. Those grenades?
Yeah, camp number 1.
Jane, we're robbing the place. We're not occupied.
Number 1, entire film, Russian Ark.
Просто Ватикан. Сударь, мы же в Ватикане, а?
Now now we cut to the greatest example of non-interrupted filmmaking. There is no standout scene here. Rather, the entire 96-minute historical drama was shot without the camera ever cutting.
Mama! Mama!
That's right, it was crafted with the use of a Steadicam, navigating 33 rooms of the Winter Palace of the Russian State Hermitage Museum. Centered on a ghost drifting through the location, his journey takes us on a guided tour through history. In total, it took 3 takes to accomplish, while being limited by the 100-minute hard drive they were capturing it on. The cheat here is that the sound was modified after the fact, as that allowed for some degree of error and the ability to edit out the crew's cursing.
Дайте пройти. Дайте пройти.
Agree with our list? Which continuous movie scene impressed you the most? For more entertaining top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
And Jimmy Two Times, who got that nickname because he said everything twice, like...
I'm gonna go get the papers,
So that's our lesson for director and blocking, and especially the greatest effort in blocking would always be the moving master. You cannot get anything better than that. So that's it for this episode of Directing 2. I hope you've learned something. See you next time.